Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I'm still kind of caught up in the middle of the last couple of weeks of the renovation I have going on in my house, so I've had a lot of time not to read for my other channel, the Goosebumps Focus channel, but I do have a lot of time to watch movies, and I've watched quite a few this week. One of the other ones I wanted to review this week, along with like 2 or 3 other movies, is Curtains, a 1983 film that I used to see in a DVD box or a VHS box at Hollywood Video all the time back when I was a kid. And it looked kind of creepy, but for some reason I never got around to renting that one. With how many Asylum movies I watched, or things that were kind of pre-Asylum, like the small, low-budget, rip-off garbage movies, I watched a lot of that, and for some reason I constantly passed over Curtains, even with its really cool cover, you know, with the creepy-looking doll that's barely in the movie, and the curtain screaming face thing that's opened up. I never knew what this was about. I didn't really know what to make of the title because of the cover. I thought maybe it had something to do with a play, and a doll in that play, and maybe the doll's alive or something. No, it's not like that. Surprisingly, it's not like that. Now, as I said in my recent review, so on YouTube, a lot of people have posted old slashers and things like that. This is on a slasher playlist that I was looking through and watching some random things this week. And I watched another movie called Home Sweet Home, and I watched another film that I reviewed a few days ago. I can't remember the name of it to save my life because it's been such a hectic couple of days. Yesterday was a really bad day, so I just came home early from work and everything. It was rough, really rough. Anyway, Curtains, it's a great cover for a really solid movie, a really surprisingly good 1983 slasher movie. Yeah, I never would have thought this was a slasher. I never read the back of the box at Hollywood Video or anything like that. So, essentially what this movie is about, you kind of have a prologue to the movie where there's an actress and a director, and the actress is kind of doing a little bit of a performance test, you know, screen test type of thing for this director. And this director seems to be not only famous in Hollywood, but also famous in Broadway doing plays and whatnot. And he's famous enough, like a Stanley Kubrick type, that people know him. You know, most people, if you talk to them about the Spider-Man movies, most normies out there, they're going to know Spider-Man, they'll know Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. They aren't going to know, like, Sam Raimi. They're not going to know Mark Webb. They're not going to know any of those guys that have directed these movies. So this particular director is in a time where he has hit a certain type of fame that people know his name. Not only the actors and actresses in his films and whatnot, but they know his names as well. So he's going to make a particular play, I think is what he said, or a movie type of adaptation of a play, or something like that, of a character named Audra, and I think the actual play is called Audra. So he has an actress auditioning, and she's pretty much got the part, but she wants to be so faithful to this character that she basically fakes a psychosis of some sort, and goes with this director to get locked up in a mental asylum, and she kind of is doing it to trick everybody in there and eventually work her way out of there as if she's been treated. And that doesn't go as smoothly as she thought it would. The director kind of just leaves her in there, you know? He thinks that she's brilliant. And by the way, this actress, I'm going to look up her name real quick, because she's great. I think it's Samantha Eggar, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe. I'm just looking at the random character thing. I'm not good with names, so when I see a movie I haven't seen before, I usually forget a lot of the character names. I'm sure in future rewatches of this movie, which will happen, because of how much I enjoyed this, I'm sure I'll catch on who's who. I'm pretty sure she played Samantha Sherwood. She was phenomenal here, but she basically gets locked up in the asylum and stuck there, because the director just kind of forgets about her. Now, I forgot how long she's in there. It's quite a while, though. I don't know if it's months or years. I don't know how long it is, but she's in there for a while, just kind of stuck, and the people that run the asylum think that she's actually crazy. Well, eventually she gets out, and when she does get out, she kind of tells people about what happened with the asylum situation. She may have just escaped, as a matter of fact. Anyway, the cast, or the director himself, has picked up a bunch of women to come to this, like, getaway mansion type of thing. I believe he owns it, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure they reference it as his house a couple of times. It's a beautiful house, as a matter of fact. He invites them all over, a bunch of these women, to audition together and with him to try to pick out who Audra is going to be in this play. And I'm going to tell you straight out, the performances here are so good. Everybody is good. Everybody is good. Some are way better than others, just because some have more to do because of the script, but I think everybody tries their best to bring something special here. And there's so many iconic moments in this. How have I gone my entire life being a horror fan and have never watched this movie? I've never heard anybody else ever talk about this movie. How is that even possible? It is a slasher, like I said. So somebody in this group of people, maybe even outside of this group of people, is wearing this. If you've ever seen Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask Part 2, or Haunted Mask 2 is what it's really called. If you've ever seen that, and you've seen like the old man mask, it looks like that, the mask that the slasher is wearing. And he doesn't really have like a certain tool that this killer uses, but just kind of anything on hand. You know, but one of the best tools that he likes to utilize, or she likes to utilize, or whoever it is, I'm not going to tell you who it is or anything about it, because it's one of the fun parts of this movie. That makes it a little bit different than most slashers I've seen in my life. This particular villain likes to use just kind of anything on hand, but one particular tool that he or she likes to use is a doll that's very ugly. It's like a sad, crying doll, but it's like a doll that I think somebody would actually make, that you would see it in like a thrift store or some sort. It's not like a deliberately made to be creepy looking doll like Annabelle for the Annabelle films. It genuinely looks creepy. And it always has its arms out for some reason, like it wants to be picked up like a small child. It's terrifying. It's not utilized the best, but when it is, it works really well, I think. The killer mask is a little goofy on the rest of the costume. I really like that mask because it reminds me of the Haunted Mask too. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the exact same mask they use in the 90s for the Goosebumps TV show. It wouldn't. It would not surprise me. It looks just like it. Anyway, the rest of the killer's costume is a little goofy to me. It's like a black hoodie and like gloves and pants and at one point ice skates. Yes. Yes. Now this movie is not just a straight up like dark, grim, edgelord slasher movie. This has a little bit of humor to it, and that comes from one of the particular women that are auditioning for this Audra role, who is a comedian, and she is fantastic. She is one of my favorite parts of this movie. I think she brings so much to this role. And like I said, you have the original Sherwood actress, who is the one who got locked in the asylum. Her actress is phenomenal. She's so good here. The director is such a sleazy, excuse me, I bit my tongue, a sleazy scumbag, but he's also bringing more to this character than just that. You know, when he brings these women in, there's more of a chance that he's probably going to sleep with some of them to try to get them to persuade him to give them the role. And like I said, I think every single person in this movie brings a really good part to what the overall movie is. I just think that some have less to do in the script than others. So your typical slasher fare, is it really gory? Not really. I just really found myself engaged with how thrilling it was. That was fun. The mystery of who's doing this. It's kind of a whodunit story, of course, so I really like that aspect to it. I like the house setting. That really works. I think the finale is really good, and I think actually the conclusion, the true end of the movie, like the last like 5 minutes, I think are freaking genius. I've never seen anything like that in movies. Let me try that again. Specifically for slasher movies. I think that worked extremely well for this movie. I think it was so genius. It was so much fun. The movie overall is just fun. I really, really like this. Now, I think, as it is, it has a couple of flaws. I don't really have much to tell you about those flaws, but like I said, it's not extremely gory or anything. There's a couple of moments that are pretty horrific, but you don't witness most of the violence, frankly. It's kind of off-screen most of the time. But I'm telling you, dude, the ending of this movie is genius. I really like it. I think I'm more impressed because I'm a horror fan, but I think most people who are like, again, normies, are not going to love this movie the way I do. I don't adore it. It's not like a perfect movie by any means. I wish the killer had a better getup. But other than that, I mean, I'm very impressed. I really, really, really like Curtains. I think it has a great soundtrack to it. Not really even a soundtrack, but just the score for it. It reminds me of like a Friday the 13th Part 1 type of thing, or just maybe Part 1 through Part 5, that type of music with the small violin kind of thing, the orchestra type of thing. It's very much like that. It has not really like a synthwave type of soundtrack or anything. It just works. I really am impressed with this, and I really recommend it if you haven't seen Curtains and you happen to be a slasher fan like yours truly. I'm I'm surprised I've never watched this, but I am finding new ones here and there on YouTube and in recommendations for people like Sinister Cinema Reviews and whatnot here on YouTube for things I haven't seen that I should see, frankly, as a horror fan. And I'm very impressed with this flick. It just kind of blew me away after seeing the last movie I saw. When it comes to curtains, I really dig most of it. I think it's almost close to being a perfect slasher in a lot of ways. There's a lot of movies I consider a perfect slasher. The Strangers, for example, or Halloween. A lot of the Friday the 13th movies, a lot of, if not most of, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies I love to death, even though they're a little bit different from your traditional whodunit slasher type of movie. I love this. I think it was very, very impressive, and I recommend it highly, guys. It's very well acted, very well put together. The directing's fine and good. I'm surprised by how good this was. It just kind of shocks me a little bit. I seem speechless because I am, frankly. Anyway, when it comes to Curtains, the 1983 film, what did you think about this? Put your thoughts and comments down below. I want to hear more people talk about this movie and give it a little bit more praise because it was so freaking good, dude. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would hands down give this a 4 out of 5 stars. It's such a recommendation from me, dude. One of the most surprising slashers I've seen in a while. One of the more surprising films I've watched for a first-time viewing on this channel, as a matter of fact. I might even pick up a copy of this to put in my collection because I liked it so much. So, what are your thoughts once again? Thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys, and goodbye.